Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Jen.
Thank you. Andrea,
There
are
we
we
go.
ready to start recording or?
We're good to go, Jen.
Okay, excellent. Welcome everybody to our last CPIC meeting of the year. On behalf of my co-chair, Jerry Bergen, and myself, I'd like to also especially welcome our newly elected CPIC members that will be joining us next September. They have been invited tonight to observe, so welcome to them as well. Start as usual with the opening prayer. If I could ask Vince to lead us in opening prayer, please.
Good evening, everyone. Just want to double check that you can hear me okay.
All good.
Okay. If everyone can please join me in the sign of our faith in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Tonight we will begin with a prayer for justice and healing. God, you have given all peoples one common origin. It is your will that we all be gathered together as one family in yourself. Fill the hearts of humankind with the fire of your love and with a desire to ensure justice for all. By sharing the good things you give us, may we secure an equality for all of our brothers and sisters throughout the world. May there be an end to division, strife, and injustices. May there be a dawning of a truly human society built on love and peace. We ask this in your name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thanks very much, Vince. And Andrea, would you mind playing the land acknowledgement for us, please?
Alton, as we know it today,
is rich in the history and modern traditions
of many First Nations and the Métis,
from the lands of the Anishinaabe
to the Attawandaron,
the Haudenosaunee,
and the Métis.
These lands surrounding the Great Lake
are steeped in Indigenous history.
As we gather today
on these treaty lands,
our Catholic social teachings
call us in solidarity
with our Indigenous brothers and sisters.
To honor and respect the four directions: lands,
waters, plants, animals, and ancestors
that walked before us.
All these wonderful elements of creation exist,
gifted to us by our Creator God. We acknowledge and thank
the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation
for being stewards of this traditional territory.
Thanks very much, Andrea. And we'll start the evening with approval of tonight's agenda. I could please have somebody make a motion to approve the agenda. And seconder as well. Sorry, I thought I saw a hand up there, but I can't see who it is. Did somebody make a motion to approve?
You've got Joel moving and you've got Sarah Furlong seconding.
Thanks, Jerry.
Welcome.
And for the minutes from the May 3rd meeting, hope you've all had a chance to review those. Can I have somebody make a motion to approve those as well and second those? Maria is approving those, and someone a second, please.
Sorry, Jen, I could move, but I also had an amendment and a comment. So
okay, sure, go ahead, Maria.
Okay, so under 9.2 regarding the Support School Council Pride events, it says that Joel McLeod withdrew his motion, but there was no motion on the table. It was just a discussion item, and I know there was confusion. Yeah, I know there was confusion at the time, so I think that needs to come out.
Okay, no problem.
But I also noted it, and it's more of a comment, and I guess for future reference. But when we voted on that being a discussion item, there was 2/3 required. And I didn't realize it at the time that 3 people abstained, and that the requirement is for 2/3 to be in favor. So an abstention is not in favor. So that motion actually shouldn't have carried because we didn't have 2/3. So, I mean, it's done.
Didn't actually have anybody abstain. There were a couple of people whose microphones weren't working.
Okay, well, the minutes reflect 3 people abstaining. So I don't know if you want to correct that then, or, right? Because
yeah, we can do that for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So maybe make that correction as well then.
Okay. So with those 2 amendments, Maria is making a motion to approve the minutes.
As amended, yes.
As amended, yes. And is there anyone seconding that, please? Sorry, I'm not able to see the chat, but you can just shout out if you're seconding. That would be great.
Steve will second.
Thank you, Steve. That's great. And we'll move along to the board update. Superintendent Denofa.
Thank you, Jen, and good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. For the board update tonight, I have a couple items, actually several items that I want to just bring the CPIC members' attention to. So although we're only a week into June as a system, we have prayed, we've reflected, and we've embraced so many different things already together. Today, we are praying the 5th day of the novena of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. You comfort us, so we may comfort others, and we will celebrate the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus on June 11th. June is also National Indigenous History Month. Our days, reflection, and prayers are for our Indigenous brothers and sisters and the grief and sorrow we share as a Catholic school system, learning about the discovery of the unmarked grave of 215 children at the residential school in Kamloops. We continue to pray and acknowledge the pain and suffering of the past and continue to work together for healing and reconciliation. On June 21st, we will mark National Indigenous Peoples Day throughout the system. All of our schools have fully embraced our Halton Catholic District School Board motion, supporting our diverse community, in particular, our students and staff who are part of the 2S LGBTQ+ community. Rainbow Day on June 1st focused on the love we have from one another. We're all embraced with love and human dignity. Virtually and in our school system, symbols of our board response with signage and rainbow crosswalks created the spaces for all our students to feel welcomed and supported. On June 14th, we will have our first Halton Catholic District School Board Pride Awareness Day. Schools will be bringing awareness to our staff and students about Pride and the history of Pride. June is also the Filipino Heritage Month, together with the Portuguese and Italian Heritage Month. We celebrate Filipino, Portuguese, and Italian Canadians and honor their contribution to the growth and development of our country and our Halton Catholic District School Board communities. It's a busy month. All of our schools are continuing with remote learning for the remainder of the school year. Technology and Wi-Fi continue to be provided to families, and some families have asked for this throughout the month of June. Students who've been provided with technology at the elementary and secondary level who have registered for summer programs this summer will be able to keep their technology throughout the summer and return it to the school in September. We are continuing to welcome our special education students under Category 4 and 5 placements at the school, and the in-person educators are supporting them. We also have many elementary students attending their school, some on a modified day, some daily, with their educator team supporting them. There have been some additional requests throughout the month of June for children to come into the school who are special identification students. We are providing modified days for them, and the parents are working together with their school and administrator to create a schedule that will work to best meet the needs of the students. Graduation. I know this is not the graduation that our graduating families for grade 8 and grade 12 had anticipated, and we were all really hopeful that we could do something different. All the schools, ahead of the government's announcement last week, have planned events and have communicated to their school communities what their plans are for graduations. Graduations all include a virtual ceremony with an outdoor event that's following the protocol set out by Halton Region Public Health. All of the events meet the criteria with today's announcement that came out from the government. Every school has an outdoor opportunity. It may not be a large gathering. It may be individual students, individual families coming up to the school where the students will receive their diplomas or awards and families will have an opportunity to take their pictures. Our graduations will focus on our grade 8s and grade 12s. For our kindergarten to grade 7 classes, schools will end off the year on a positive note through the remote learning environment. Many schools have planned guest speakers, special events, year-end liturgies, and there will be the curbside pickup and drop-off of personal belongings and resources as per the protocols that have been set out by Halton Public Health. Schools will communicate their plans to the parents and guardians within the next 2 weeks. Along with this, we are also starting to plan for 2021-22 school year. Our school year calendar has been approved by the ministry and a formal communication will be sent out to parents this week. We will start this school year in September with 2 professional development days for our staff, focusing on health and safety protocols, student mental health and well-being, learning, recovery, and intervention strategies to work with students after learning interruptions due to COVID-19, and further development on our math curriculum. Our high schools will follow an in-person quadmester schedule, and details of how the day will run will be shared with a calendar communication to parents over the next couple weeks. Our committee is working through what our school day schedule for secondary will look like, and we will be seeking feedback from CPIC, CIAC, and our student trustees. Our elementary learning environment survey is out and available to parents until June 11th. The ministry has directed us to prepare for September 21 as we did prior to going remote in April. Our students will be returning to school in the elementary setting in some form using the cohort model with children wearing masks to school. The focus right now is vaccinating our educators and students from 12 to 17 for September. The data from COVID-19 will dictate what the health and safety protocols will be for September. We have learned a lot this year and know the protocols in Halton in particular have been successful. Okay, we have maintained minimal outbreaks in our schools and will continue to follow the direction of public health with our reopening plans. Our schools have started to do some transition planning for our special education students for August, where students and parents will meet with the school ahead of the start of the school year and through our special education program that has been planned for the week of August 23rd. Elementary school registration is open and has various offerings. Elementary summer school registration is open and has several offerings for our students in grades 6 to 8 for literacy and numeracy, our Camp Summerland for grade 2 to 5 students, and we have our special education program, one in July and one in August. We continue to offer our virtual high school, secondary school program in the virtual environment, and there's registrations available for that. For our new kindergarten families, all our new kindergarten families have had an opportunity to attend a virtual session with the school, their parent orientation session. They were well attended and well received, and we look forward to welcoming our new families and students in the fall. For reporting for the end of the school year, both our elementary and secondary panels report cards will go home electronically. Elementary report cards will go home on Wednesday, June 23rd, and secondary school reports will go home the first week of July. For our elementary report cards, most of our elementary report cards will only have marks assigned and no commentary as a result of the sanctions from our elementary electa strike action. Classes that have been taught by long-term occasional teachers will have commentary together with their marks. All of our educators are continuing to support the students with their academic, spiritual, and mental well-being. Educators have planned many different activities to wrap up this school year on a positive note for the students. And we're thankful to all our families, to the parents, for working in partnership with us this year, and as we begin to plan for the fall. Any questions? Go ahead, Jen.
Nancy, I was just wondering, is there any timeline with respect to the streaming curriculum being released?
No, we still do not have the curriculum. And I know Director Daly did have his meeting with the ministry officials last week and this week, and yet we still do not have the curriculum. As soon as we have it, we will communicate back out.
Thanks.
Maria?
Hi, yeah, I think that, I don't know if I heard correctly, but I think you said that you would be collecting feedback regarding the secondary return to school plans, and that you would be collecting from CPIC as well as CIAC, which is great. And I'm just wondering, I mean, it's getting kind of late in the year and there's not many meetings left, so I'm just wondering what that process will look like and when. This is our last CPIC meeting and CIAC has one more next week.
Maria, once the committee has developed that plan, it will go out and it will probably, maybe if we have to call a meeting or representation from CPIC on that meeting to share or give some feedback about it, or we'll send it out and it could be sent back as information through a forms survey. Okay. So because we just received sort of last week that announcement from the government that we are to approach it as a quadmester, okay, with 2 courses per quadmester. We're working through it. And I know that many of you have heard about the public boards model, which is not our model. So we're working through so that what we're sending out is something that, first of all, we think is going to work and it's going to run smoothly, but also that we're going to give our stakeholders an opportunity to give some feedback. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if the ministry said it has to be a quadmester. I think that was an example. I think they said 2 courses a day, which is why the public board is doing, I think, 2 courses one week and 2 courses the next week. So just to be clear on what exactly is the requirement from the ministry. But I look forward to the opportunities to give feedback on that for sure.
The ministry outline was to each board to do a quadmester. If you choose to go against it as a school board, then you have to submit that to the ministry for approval. So the ministry request was that we do quadmesters with 2 courses in person. Jerry, go ahead.
Thanks, Nancy. Yeah, just a quick question on the annual reports due in from the Council of Chairs. Do we know what the response rate's been like? I believe today was the due date.
Andrea Brown, my admin assistant, has been collecting that information. Andrea, do you have an update on how many have submitted at this point? Okay, Andrea's going to give it, she's going to, I could hear her, she said she's going to pull that up, okay? So she's been tracking it and she's been following up with the Catholic school councils, Jerry, and that's our goal, is to get them all in, okay?
Yeah, terrific. I mean, and I'd love to see the, see those reports. How has that been handled in the past? I don't know that they've ever made it to us, but I think it could be a very useful tool for us.
Jerry, I think it's great. So what Andrea did, she created a form for them. So everything's going to come in an Excel spreadsheet for us, and it'll be really easy for us to share with CPIC. I think it'll give us some good next steps for next year.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks.
So 30 schools have shared their report today. Okay, but we will ask that they all get submitted, okay?
Yeah, let's do another push so we can get that.
Yeah, we will get them all.
Participation rate up. Yeah, thanks.
Maria, do you have another question?
Sorry, I think I forgot to put my hand up, but I will just say, and I'm guilty, I haven't submitted mine on half of my council yet, the annual report, but it is a requirement, so
it is a requirement.
Yeah, so.
Thanks, Maria, make sure you get it in, okay?
Yeah, I will, for sure.
And just before I close with my report, just the CPIC Pro-Grant Speaker Series, the communication should go out tomorrow to parents about it. So here's what's planned for the month of June. So we have Michael Way-Skinner is providing a 5-part video series focusing on, it's titled is Room Up for All, Faith, Sexuality, and Gender Identity. So the parents will have an opportunity to watch. He has 5 videos, about 20 minutes in length, and that will bring some awareness and education to the parents with regards to our board motion. Okay. Then we have Ashley Harris-Whaley, who will present on Monday, June 14th. What will happen is when the advertisement goes out, parents can sign up and they will get a link to the Teams meeting to attend that session. Okay, that is a focus on speaking about the perspective for raising anti-ableist kids and helping us to change our perspective and bias around disability. And then we have on Monday, June 17th, Brent Allman, who will be presenting to the parents. And again, it will work as the same way that Ashley's presentation. So parents who register then will get a link to the session. And Brett is going to be speaking about, as parents, we all want what's best for our kids. There are a number of voices speaking on the issues can be overwhelming. And so how to shift through and understand all the different issues that are out there and how to help a parent navigate all those things that are coming up for their kids. Okay. So those are the three series that are happening. And so thank you to the CPIC members who planned and organized that. And we hope that they will be well attended. All of them will be recorded, the actual live sessions, so parents will have access to them. So for Brett's and for Ashley's, I think we'll have access to them for a month. And then Michael's will be available for a long period of time to us. Okay. Yes, Maria, all of the speakers are being paid through the Pro Grant. Together with many of the SEAC sessions have been paid together with the Pro Grant, and the sessions that Sherry Seville has been doing are being paid by the Pro Grant. Okay, thank you.
Thanks so much, Nancy, for that great update. I'll pass it over now to Vice Chair Dort to give us the trustee update. Marvin.
Good evening. I thought there was one. Oh, sorry, I was referring to something else. Anyway, sorry, good evening. Madam Chair, this is going to be a little bit long update because lots of things have been happening at the board. So the last meeting of CPIC was on May 3rd, and trustees have been very busy since that meeting. We had 3 board meetings, 2 special board meetings, 1 policy meeting, and 1 multi-year strategic planning meeting. At the May 4th board meeting, trustees approved the 2021-22 school year calendar, as you heard. At the same meeting, the Capital Priorities Program submission was approved with 2 new schools in Milton, 1 in Georgetown, 1 in North Oakville, besides a couple of extensions and rebuilds for schools. Phase 1 of the multi-year strategic plan was concluded with trustees accepting the recommendations of the multi-year strategic planning committee as far as the mission, vision, and values are concerned. We are into phase 2 now, where the data collection is going to start. We hope to complete all the 4 phases of the multi-year strategic plan early next year. At the May 18th board meeting, there was 1 delegation on student voice and 3 delegations on cancellation of the grade 9 pre-AP and pre-IB math programs because of the ministry mandated grade 9 de-streaming implementation at HCDSB. At the next board meeting, May 27th, trustees responded to student voice delegation by referring to the working staff committee, student leadership. This is a new committee comprising of senior staff, which will work with our students to better connect, align, support, and expand student leadership, both at the schools and system level. This will be a very exciting opportunity for all our students. At the same meeting, the new name for Milton number 3 high school was approved, and that's St. Kateri Tekavita, our own Canadian Indigenous saint. Good news for Milton. The comprehensive, detailed, and updated policy II-45, equity and inclusion, was approved at the same meeting. This is an extremely important policy for all of us, and we are proud of the work, of the effort and work that staff has put into it. This policy will go a long way in making our students and staff feel included and safe. At the June 1st meeting, there was a presentation on the work done by the STEM committee over the past year. I'll talk a little bit more about it later. There were 2 delegations on cancellation of the grade 9 pre-AP and pre-IB math programs because of the streaming implementation. Prior to these delegations, staff had decided to retain programming for math, AP, and IB programs to the way it was originally conducted. The response to this delegation was that any cancellation of the AP or IB programming would be brought to the Board of Trustees. At the June 3rd special meeting, the results of the STEM committee recommendations were presented and were unanimously approved. The original STEM motion a year back was to find opportunities to increase curricular and extracurricular STEM activities and to promote them in our system. The committee worked together for a whole year to come up with this report with concrete plans to implement and grow STEM or STEAM in our elementary and secondary schools in the system. STEM or STEAM is now tied to the curriculum and linked to the Ontario Catholic School graduate expectations. We now have a detailed roadmap with plans for resources, dedicated staff, and physical spaces in our schools. All the details are in the board package of the last meeting. STEAM is now an excellent opportunity for our school councils, parents, and our alumni students to be involved in the deployment process at our schools. For example, camps, clubs, parent evenings, etc. And I hope you all can help disseminate this information and participate in schools. This initiative also brings opportunities for all our girl students, while also providing equitable and accessible opportunities to each and every student in our system. And my hope is that it will only keep on growing. Staff will be bringing this to CPIC as well as CIAC, and will look to grow the committee representation. Couple of notable items. Trustees are involved with school graduation ceremonies preparations this week. Of course, it's virtually. Policy I-23, Catholic School Council and Catholic Parent Involvement Committee will come up for discussion at a policy meeting tomorrow night. If it's approved, it will go to the last board meeting on June 15th. And then we have a long list of items on that for that board meeting. So let's see where we get to. Trustees will have meetings in July to discuss and approve the budget. And as far as multi-year strategic planning goes, a consultant will be hired to assist with phase 2, that's data collection, and this will happen in the month of August. Finally, this being our end of the year meeting, I would like to thank each and every CPIC member for your dedication and contribution to CPIC and HCDSB. Have a great and safe summer with your families. I'll now take any questions. Madam Chair.
Maria, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Marvin. It certainly has been a very busy year at the board, and here I was thinking you guys were going to get the summer off, but apparently not. And I don't know if July will be the end of it. I just had some comments about an item that's coming up for you guys, and it's on the policy committee for tomorrow regarding the Catholic School Council's policy. And I know we've had a lot of discussion here already about it. But I read the action report, and it does not reflect my recollection of the discussions that we've had here at CPIC. And I went back and listened because, you know, my memory's not the best sometimes. But I don't recall there being, I recall that the feedback was kind of all over the place, not that there was really any consensus to increasing non-Catholic membership. And specifically, it says that CPIC members were in favor of an increase. I don't remember CPIC discussing that about school councils. And in terms of CPIC membership, again, it was very mixed opinions. So I'm just, I guess, you know, we're not here to have further discussion about this, but I'm just concerned with the information being presented to trustees that it's not accurate. And we also discussed the trustees receiving all the detailed feedback that came in from councils, which we didn't get. We just got a summary. But it was specifically requested by, I think, Tim, that the trustees would get that detail. So I don't know if you guys have gotten it privately, but it's not in the report for sure. I also had a couple of questions that were outstanding that I forwarded to the co-chairs today. I copied the trustees, but they were things I had specifically asked at the meetings that we were gonna get followed up. So I guess I just want to share all of that. I don't know what else to say because, again, I know this is just a trustee update here on the agenda. We're not debating this item, but I'm just concerned about the accuracy of the report.
Yeah, so I won't comment on that. I'll leave it with Madam Chair and with the superintendent to to deal with that specific detail. I'll just do any trustee questions and answers if at all there are.
Nancy, I see you have your hand up. I'll let you go ahead first.
Hi, Maria. Just in terms of clarification, I believe on Friday night's report that went out to the trustees, some items were missing, but by Saturday morning, they had all the reports available to them. So Appendix A of that action report was shared with them. And what Appendix A is the feedback summary that CPIC provided to be shared with the policy committee with regards to that policy. Okay, so Jerry collated all the information that came out from the Catholic school councils. I believe it was 16 elementary schools who responded and 5 secondary schools. And what the report shared, yes, it was all over the place in terms of details of how they answered questions, but they all indicated to increase the number of Catholic membership. And Jerry, you can correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I believe that's what's in the summary, was your summary from what the Catholic school councils had answered to those questions. Okay, so that's what's been shared with the trustees, is that report from the questions that Jerry had asked to the council chairs. Okay.
So correct, that's the summary, but I get, like, I had asked about the detail, all the submissions, and Tim did ask for that to be shared with trustees, if not with CPIC members. So it's not that I am referring, I'm not referring to the summary, I'm referring to the details. And absolutely not correct that all the councils asked for an increase, because I know on behalf of my council, again, that the feedback within my council was all over the place. So we did not submit that. I submitted, you know, we had people that wanted no change, people that wanted to open it up, people that wanted, like, it was literally, I got one answer of every kind, and I even remember sharing that in the CPIC meeting. So I know for sure my council didn't say that. I didn't see the other submissions, but my understanding, and again, going back and listening to the discussions, was that it was really all over the place. So I don't know. I don't think that's accurate.
Jerry, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, so the full verbatims that came back from all the schools was provided to the policy committee. So the summary report, and I mean that was frankly our best efforts to summarize what we read throughout all the detailed verbatims, but then along with the detailed verbatims went to the policy committee as well. So I think it's back to the policy committee to then share that amongst the board of trustees as they see fit. So you know, the ask was to us to gather this information. We did so, provided it back to the policy committee. That's kind of where our job ends with this. So I mean, yeah, like I said, not to pass the buck, but it's back in the hands of the policy committee, and I guess by extension the board of trustees.
So just to clarify, Jerry, so you're saying the trustees did receive that detail then? It's just not published, maybe?
The policy committee did. So it went to Nancy Guzzo. I can't remember if it went to anyone else, but for sure to Nancy as the head of the policy committee.
Okay, so I guess we'll just leave that with the trustees to sort out, so they can decide what information they want and how to use it.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Thank you very much, Trustee Duarte, for your update.
You're welcome. Thanks so much, everybody.
We'll move along to our standing item updates, starting with an update on OAPSI from our OAPSI Director for Halton, Denise Gorel-Teddy. Denise?
Thank you. So my update is pretty brief this time. I had quite an extensive piece, I guess, on the council chairs and prior the last CPIC meeting. I have submitted the final regional report for Halton that goes to OAPSI. So for those who are not aware, as part of being the board of directors, I'm required to submit a number of regional reports. across the year to our executive director. So that final regional report went on Friday, and it should be included in the upcoming Parents for Parents newsletter, which I know is coming out very soon from OWAPSI. I'll be attending a board of directors meeting again at the end of June for OWAPSI to look at some, I know we're looking at some strategic planning and upcoming for the next year or so. There is a plan, at least in the works that I know about, some upcoming events in June for OWAPSI reps. So as soon as I get information, I know they were thinking about a town hall or something along those lines. So I'm still waiting for information to get finalized, and that will be communicated to our WAPSI reps as soon as that information becomes available to me. And again, as this is my final standing item for this particular year on CPIC, again, I'd like to thank all of our WAPSI reps for this year and their contributions to OWAPSI through their school counselors and parent communities. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Denise. We'll move along to our subcommittee updates, starting with the School Council Support Committee. Lydia, do you have an update for us?
Hi, everyone. We forwarded our comments. Our subcommittee met again and discussed, provided a few comments, and also and we forwarded it to Jen and Jerry. And the feedback was that certainly it needs further review and revision. So hopefully during the next few months, it will be updated and ready for September for the new members to have it when they start the next semester.
Great, that's the school council handbook.
Yes, the handbook.
Yes, that will be great. That's all of our intentions to have that up and ready to go for when the school councils are start their meeting September next year. Thanks very much, Lydia. Next is the Parent Community Engagement Committee. Joel, do you have an update?
Yeah, hi everyone. The committee did not meet. We had a meeting, or sorry, we had a guest speaker arranged a while back, which I believe is now scheduled. And we haven't really had an opportunity to meet since then. So no update from us.
Thanks, Joel. And lastly, the Bylaw Subcommittee. Steve, can you give us an update, please?
Good evening. As you are aware, in the first phase of looking at the bylaw document, we looked at the language and the structure of the document. And the next phase, we have a meeting on Thursday, and we're going to start discussion around more substantial changes that possibly to be made for the bylaws. That's it.
Great, thank you very much, Steve. And next is the CPIC representation on board committees. I'm just going to run through these. I'm not sure if these board committees have met in the last month. Lydia, did the Mental Health Committee meet at all?
Unfortunately, they haven't had any meetings since the last in November. So
okay,
no,
thank you, Lydia.
Thank you.
And Sarah, I'm going to let you speak here, but I'm presuming that there hasn't been a meeting, given that they published their findings from the bullying committee. But go ahead.
Yep, that's right. The last thing was the findings that were sent out to everybody. Nothing new since that.
Thank you. Tiana, do you want to talk at all about Walk with Jesus? Any follow-up from, we've actually had the event now since our last meeting. Has the subcommittee met, or did you want to share any of what happened?
Sure. So the event did happen. It took place on May 6th, and I think it was very well received. There was a lot of tweets that went out. One of the things I would like to say is a special thanks to all the people that were involved in the organization of it. To think that during a pandemic, when we have to be physically apart and everything, to be able to bring together the school systems, the parish, and the parents and families to celebrate this one day in this virtual way. It's just amazing that that they were able to do that. So a special thanks out to all the people who organized it, and then also a thank you to everyone who participated.
Well said, Tiana. Thank you very much for representing us on that committee. And lastly, I was representing the CPIC on the Board Committee for Homeschool Parish Partnership. We haven't met since the last meeting, so I have no updates for that committee. Last item for the evening is discussion items. The first being CPIC meeting dates for 2021-22. I'm not sure if it was attached to the package. I don't actually have it in front of me, but we did. Thank you, Andrea. She's going to scroll down. We changed, I believe, a couple of the dates. I think it was maybe February and March of next year. Let me see here. Oh, okay. I think we did that one before. So we did change a couple of the dates. I'm not sure exactly which ones they were in order to accommodate a fourth Council of Chairs meeting for next year. So we received some feedback that, the Council of Chairs meetings were very much appreciated and were providing very timely and good information. And there was a request to possibly add a fourth Council of Chairs meetings for next year. So we have slotted one in February. I'm trying to think, is it February or March? We usually have it. I think we usually do November, March, and May. So now we've moved it to November, February, April, and May. And provided that we do have timely topics that we want to discuss and bring forth and useful information to school councils, we will have the 4 meetings. However, to accommodate that and to not overload the committee with the number of meetings we have, we did take out, I believe it was the April meeting that CPIC had scheduled as a committee. Obviously, if we get to that point and we find that it's too long of a time frame to go without meeting as a committee on its own, we can call a special meeting. And alternatively, if we don't feel like we have enough material to host 3 Council of Chair meeting dates, we can always revert back to 3 Council of Chair meetings and add another CPIC meeting. So, but for the time being, those are the dates that have been selected for next year. And that's all I have to say about that topic. Does anyone have any questions or concerns? Maria, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, sorry, I was just wondering, is there supposed to be minutes of the Council of Chairs? And I don't know if I've missed something in my inbox. I feel like maybe we had them for the first meeting, but not after that. And also with the last. So. No.
Go ahead. No. Sorry, I didn't realize you had 2. No.
Okay. Sorry, so maybe I'm wrong about that. But I also wondered, the last Council of Chairs, because there was not an opportunity for questions, but people were submitting them through the forms, and I thought the questions and answers were going to be made available somewhere, but I have no idea where. So I'm just wondering what's happening with that.
Yeah, I know we only received 2 questions, but Nancy, maybe you can address how those were being handled.
Yes, Maria, the committee, Sita and Christy will answer those questions and submit them out. They did get the questions. I apologize if they haven't been able to respond to them yet, but the questions were the questions that you and Trustee Agnew had asked of them.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to actually ask my question because sorry, I had my hand up, but I didn't ask my question. But that's okay. I was just wondering, and I didn't know if there was questions submitted for the other topics as well. So maybe there wasn't, and maybe there's nothing, but wasn't sure.
I don't think so, Nancy. Can you confirm if there were any?
There wasn't any. And Maria, Christy Davidson knew your question that was asked, and that's why she said she was going to be able to provide some feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, and the second discussion item, we just wanted to throw out there, Jerry and I had wanted everyone to start thinking about this community rep position. We would like to fill it in September. So I think we wanted to collectively think what kind of person we want in this position. And then individually, I guess, think through over the next couple of months who we think might be interested in a good candidate for the position so that we can bring a few candidates forward to hopefully that first meeting in September, and present them and then vote on a community rep for next year. So I'm just going to open the floor. If anybody has any ideas of any kind of specific traits that they would like to see the person representing the community on this council would have. Does anybody have any ideas or thoughts? Denise.
Sorry, I'm just wondering about a description that is somewhere. I don't know if it's in bylaws or
I
don't
have
have
seen
any
that
access to it.
description.
Is there a written description already, just so we can build off something?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. It's actually the one that I've seen actually comes right out of the Ministry of Education's description. So it says this person would contribute to the discussions of school council, represent the community perspective, and help build partnerships and links between the school and community. So I think we talked before about ideally this would be somebody who doesn't necessarily have children in the system, because they'd be coming at the position from a community perspective as opposed to a parent perspective.
Jen, I think that description is the one that pertains to Catholic school councils, not necessarily.
It does, but it's also repeated in the act for the PIC one as well.
For CPIC, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So same idea, just at a different level.
Exactly.
Yeah. So pretty wide open. Nothing too specific. Unfortunately.
No, really just
but
helping us link the
schools
and communities.
I'd offer that it's kind of ours to kind of craft, right? And depending, because it's a 1-year term, so year to year we may have a different need. Exactly. Potentially for the kind of community representative we want. You know, I mean, I think heading into next year, I'll kick off if you don't mind my 2 cents. I mean, obviously, parent engagement. My observation, it's actually been increasing this past year or two, which is great to see. So someone with strong ties to our parent community, I think would be a great attribute. So someone who's kind of close to our system already, you know, that may but comes from a different lens is not, like you said, not necessarily a parent representative, but someone who's close to the organization, if you will. That'd be my first thought anyway.
Yep, I agree. That's great. Thanks, Jerry. Maria, I think you had your hand up next.
I did, and I haven't given a lot of thought as to kind of the criteria, but I'm just wondering about the process, because I do believe that, I know you're saying we're hoping for September, but I think the bylaws do say that this person has to be appointed at the first meeting. But I'm wondering how we sort of make the community aware that this position exists, because I think in the past, I mean, I think there was somebody who was in this position for many, many years. And I think in the past, it's kind of been like, you know, if you're in the know, then you come forward for it. And I know we had talked in one of our meetings about some different ways. So I think we need to also discuss how we're going to make the community at large aware that this position exists, so that, you know, there's equal opportunity for anyone who might be able to serve in the role to bring themselves forward.
Do you have any ideas about how to do that, Maria?
Okay, so yeah, I was just going to jump into that, but I know we had talked about, I mean, there's always the school website, the board website, social media accounts. We could advertise through the parishes, in the parish bulletins, and even just letting school councils know about these positions. I know we're saying not a parent, but school councils can reach out to their own, you know, contacts that they might have in the community that might be interested in coming forward. So those are a few thoughts.
Okay. Thank you. That's great. Did you have anything else, Maria? Or otherwise I'll move on to Joel.
That's it for now.
Okay. All right, thank you. Joel, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in with my 2 cents on kind of who your ideal community rep person would be. I would suggest finding someone in more of a social services role within the community. since I'm stepping away, technically, I guess in August, so I wouldn't do anything about it, but I would probably use the summer to maybe reach out to a few youth-oriented groups in Halton. I'm thinking like the YMCA or YMCA Rock, things of that nature, to reach out, because the things that parents are asking for they fall outside the purview of the parish. A lot of parents were asking for mental health initiatives. They're asking for help in like finding tutors for kids, after school programs, all those things that they're looking for. I think it would be great if CPIC had a community rep who already had a foot in that world, that could provide resources and suggestions to parents because I have no idea what the next school year is going to be. COVID hopefully will be a thing of the past, and we'll be on to, you'll have different things to deal with. Hopefully you'll be meeting in person. But like, I think that I would probably spend the summer maybe coming up with a short list of organizations and discreetly reach out to them and say, maybe have a few people put their names forward, and the committee can vote in September with a few people. But I think that would be your ideal rep person.
Those are great ideas. Thanks, Joel. Anybody else have any thoughts, ideas? Okay, well, we've got a few months, so think about candidates you think might be a good fit, and we will collectively, I think, work on a description of an ideal candidate and try to solicit in multiple forms candidates, so that we can choose. When it gets to our September meeting, we can vote for the best candidate. Maria, go ahead.
So just kind of related to this, I guess, is school councils also have community reps. And I think that came up when the policy first came to policy committee about a year ago, or maybe it was in the fall, about having some more information about that and that policy for school councils to follow. Because I'll tell you, like, in my experience, it's like, I've seen somebody who wanted to be chair ask a graduating parent to come back so they could support them in their role as chair. Then they weren't a community rep, but they never came back to another meeting.
Right.
So we get people, and I've been to meetings where the principal basically says so and so is the community rep, but the community rep is really supposed to be appointed by council members. So I think there's a lot of confusion at the school level about that role and what it's supposed to be and how someone's supposed to come into that role.
I agree.
So
that's one of the things I'd like to outline more in that school handbook.
Right.
For them, like that, you really kind of need to have an idea in mind as to what you want this person to do, what's the ideal candidate, and then go out and look for the person.
Yeah, and how those people come forward, and there's nothing wrong with a couple of people coming forward to the first council meeting, and then members choose, right? I mean, so, and again, just with this being on the policy committee agenda for tomorrow, the policy is and the procedure is as well. I would just leave that as well with trustees if they want to do any of that within that work, as well as, like you said, in that handbook. I think it needs a bit more work.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have any other thoughts before we close off this discussion? All right. Thank you all for your input. Moving on in the agenda, item number 7 is other business, future agenda items. I don't have any. Does anybody have anything they want to raise? Denise?
Hi, I didn't want to, it's not an agenda item, I just wanted to point out something that, it may not be for CPIC, but I thought it was really important about the, but it does affect our board in terms of the person. So I don't know if you're aware of the Future Ground Prize. I'm sure you are, for the David Suzuki Foundation.
Yep.
And the idea of the Grandmother's Voice vote for the Indigenous Seeds of Hope, planning our future in Milton. So I'm just encouraging all those CPIC members who haven't yet discovered this to vote. Please go out and support, especially as it's in the an Indigenous month for June, in the celebration of that.
Yes,
It's just a
Denise,
comment.
do you have the link for that? I know I saw it on social media when I voted, but is there a link that you can provide to members in case they haven't had a chance to go on and vote? I think we've lost Denise there. If anyone is interested in that link, I can find it out for you and forward it to you, so just let me know. Marie, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. I know I'm talking a lot, but we're doing good for timing. So I meant to bring this up earlier. We were talking about the council of chair. So I don't know if you have agenda plans already for those meetings, but I know we've talked before about the school council training that the board used to do. And that I think would be a great topic for like the first council of chairs meeting to review. You know, what is the school council supposed to do? It's not just about fundraising. And it's not just about getting reports from staff about what's happening at the school. You know, what is the role of school council and some of the requirements? I think that would be a great thing to have all the time as a first, because every year there's new members and there's people who are chair for the first time. And quite honestly, and I'm, you know, again, it's not a criticism, but I'm not sure principals always know how it's all supposed to work. So I think it would be a great topic for the first meeting.
Yeah, that's a great idea. We have not put together an agenda yet, but I think that's a great idea. I'll add it to my notes. Anyone else before we move on to the closing prayer? Nancy, go ahead.
Jen, we had talked about for the board committees that has CPIC members on it, if there's anybody who's no longer going to be a part of CPIC, yes. They just share about that role, so, or ask committee right now if there's anybody interested. Okay.
So I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Lydia and Sarah are both leaving us next year. Is that correct, Lydia? Sarah?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So those subcommittees, mental health and bullying prevention, do both of you maybe want to briefly chat about what your role was on the committee or what the committee's task was, and perhaps we can see if any of the new upcoming CPIC members want to take your place on those committees, or any of the current committee, or any of the current CPIC members that are returning to us next year. Lydia, do you want to go first?
Yes, sure. I got on this committee, be a representative just past year, and I attended only one meeting, and I was looking forward for more kind of engagement, but unfortunately, nothing happened since that meeting. And I tried a few times to communicate with the representatives, the contact person I had from the school board, but I didn't receive any feedback. So best of luck to the new person. Hopefully it's gonna be busier or can contribute more to it next year.
Nancy, I'm not sure if are you able to add anything with respect to that committee and what it does?
Yeah, I provided a report after the meeting, and which was quite promising. That there were a few initiatives which I really liked and thought they will be actually executed and go ahead with it. But after the meeting, I haven't heard anything, and I wasn't involved in anything, so that was about it.
Yes. Thank you, Lydia. I appreciate
meeting
that.
And also the report I provided to our the CPIC meeting, but that was about it.
Yes, I was just wondering if Nancy had anything that she could add. I'm not sure if she's aware of that at all. Nancy, do you have anything you want to add or no?
Yeah, just Lydia, it wasn't to exclude you. I just know that Glenda Brown, who's responsible for the Mental Health Awareness Committee, was off for several months this year. So when you got invited in April to attend that meeting, she was returning, and so she's overseeing it. A lot of the work that's been happening at the schools has been at the school level, whereas that's like the overall and outreach to communities. So hopefully that committee will start to meet more regularly, and then representation from CPIC on there will be valuable for us. So I apologize, Lydia, that you didn't get too involved this year with them.
Yeah, I'm sorry to, but maybe yes, other opportunities in the future.
Great, thank you. Maria, I see your hand up. I'm just going to quickly ask Sarah to talk through her subcommittee, and then I'll get to you.
So the committee I was on was dealing with the bullying policy, and it was completed and sent out a couple of months ago. And I'm not sure if the committee will be continuing on beyond that, or if it was just in terms of getting this policy updated. But I haven't done anything or heard anything for several months on that.
Nancy, do you by any chance know if this committee will continue on next year? I'm not sure how often those policies are updated, or if it might have a different role next year.
It will have a different role. That committee that Sarah worked on was around the policy and that, but I believe it's Superintendent Cordero who oversees that. And so if they need to have parent representation, they'll bring it on if they're doing other things come the fall.
Okay.
Okay.
Maria, sorry, did you have your hand up, or was that just from before?
Sorry, that was from before.
Okay, no problem. Okay, I know those were very brief overviews. If anyone is interested in joining any of those committees, feel free to speak now or send us an email later. And if not, we will be soliciting volunteers at our first meeting next September. Just looking to see if anyone's putting their hand up to take one of those positions. I don't see anything. Okay. Well, we'll give it some time for you all to think about it. Generally, these subcommittees or these board committee representation is a few extra meetings a year. I would say on average 3 or 4 probably. But they're a great opportunity to get involved. And we do like to have a CPIC member on all of the board committees where we are asked to provide one. So if you guys could think about that for September, that would be great. Okay, that's it for our agenda for this evening. We did move along very quickly this evening. Thank you all again for all of your time and energy this year with CPIC. Thank you very much for those members who have finished their 2-year term and are not returning next year. Thank you very much for all that you have done for the parent community and Halton Catholic District School Board. Jerry, is there anything you'd like to say before we do the closing prayer?
No, just simply to echo those sentiments, Jen. Thanks everyone for all the hard work. Between the subcommittees, our regular meetings, the Council of Chairs meetings, and all the little things in between. Great work, everyone. I just feel like we're building momentum. With every month and every year that passes here, and looking forward and excited for next year as well. And thanks as well to our support from the board, from Director Daly, Superintendent Donalfo, Trustee Gerard, of course, always side by each with us. And so looking forward to continue that on next year. Great.
And of course, the ladies behind the scene, Andrea Boyle and Andrew Swindon, who are always there to support us. Thank you very much. Nancy, can you please lead us in closing prayer?
Yes, and I just want to make a few closing remarks as well. First of all, thank you to all of you. When I came on in October to the superintendent role and took over CPIC, we didn't know each other, but we hit the ground running with the election taking place. And right away, we wanted to make a change to the election process, and we did it. And so we have our committee in place for September, and that was a big step forward for us. In addition, we talked about the bylaws, and we're starting to review the bylaws. And then the different committees at the board level that many have already started to be on. But even that, going into next year, there will be other committees that will seek input from CPIC. So many of our committee members can get involved with that. So a lot, I think, as a group we've accomplished. Our Council of Chairs meetings have been well run and well received from the community. So I think we're in a good place as we begin looking at the fall and the work that CPIC will do on behalf of the parents in Halton Catholic. So thank you to everyone. And special thank you to Jerry and Jen for being our co-chairs and doing a wonderful job this year. Yes, thank you to Trustee Duarte and O'Brien for being involved with CPIC, and to all the support staff my assistant, Andrew Brown, and to Andrew Swindon for helping us, and Director Daly for always being there to support us during our meetings. Just special thank you to Steve, Olu, Joel, Lydia, and Sarah for your commitment to CPIC and for all the work that you've done over the past 2 years. Okay, so thank you to everyone. I wish you all well and your family and your children well, and hope that you have a safe and wonderful summer together with your family. I'm sure there will be a point through the year, first of all, for feedback on the secondary schedule, or if we come up with information around the communications for the committee members, the community committee members will put that information out through CPIC. Okay, so if we could join me in the sign of our faith to close the meeting. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Lord, we praise you for you have lifted us up. We ask for your help, and you came alongside us and guided us through the work we have done as a Catholic Parent Involvement Committee. We praise you for your insight into every decision we needed to make. We thank you for all that was accomplished. We thank you for your favor and for making us strong in our decisions. As we end this meeting, we ask that you continue to lead and guide us for the sake of your holy and precious name. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.